Is the president starting to think about maybe some of those veterans who worked for the federal government and maybe what the administration can do to at least help salvage their lives?
Well, as you know, we care about veterans tremendously. I mean, that's something the president has always cared about. Anybody in blue, anybody that serves this country. But at the same time, we have taxpayer dollars. We have a fiscal responsibility to use taxpayer dollars to pay people that actually work. That doesn't mean that we forget our veterans by any means. We are going to care for them in the right way, but perhaps they're not fit to have a job at this moment or not willing to come to work. And we can't, I wouldn't take money from you and pay somebody and say, sorry, they're not going to come to work. It's just not acceptable.
I'd like you to react specifically because she's talking about veterans like yourself when she says they're not fit to have a job at this moment or not willing to come to work. Does that apply to you or any of the other veterans who you work with?
No, it doesn't. I was in the office all the time. I oversaw all the IRS facilities in Connecticut, so it was can't really do that job from home. I was all over the New England region, going into these offices, making sure they were running good so that we could have our taxpayer assistance centers who American people rely on to get taxes done. So it's sad to hear, but I'm still here to get veterans their job back, and that's going to be my goal while I'm down here.
Congressman, is there anything you can do to help in that regard?
So we've introduced legislation, the Veterans Job Protection Act, which would in fact reverse those firings, which again, I think it's important to remember. The federal government actually has been intentionally and targeted in a targeted fashion reaching out to veterans to take federal jobs because they have the right skill set in terms of teamwork, training, just like Gabe, who did logistics in the Marine Corps and now was in a position to make sure these buildings were working the way they're supposed to, and again was going to work every single day. I mean, it's really tough to listen to someone accuse people just broad brush without regarding really understanding the truth, which is that Gabe and others were there diligently because that's the way they were trained in the military, was to show up and follow orders.
There's all kinds of research that shows how military members have been important and, as you say, very disciplined members of the business community after they leave service.